Hello, and welcome to the ServSafe Food Safety Protection Manager Certification. My name is Mr. Dan Delcher, and I'm a certified ServSafe instructor with the Essex County Schools of Technology. Through this online training, you will be prepared for the ServSafe Food Safety Protection Manager Certification. Chapter 1: Keeping Food Safe. The objectives of Chapter 1 include identifying the following: what a food illness is and how to determine when one has occurred, challenges to food safety, costs of a foodborne illness, contaminants that can make food unsafe, how food becomes unsafe, food most likely to become unsafe, populations at high risk for foodborne illness, and food safety responsibilities of the person in charge of a restaurant or food service operation. A foodborne illness is a disease transmitted to people through food. Many times, people all around us experience a foodborne illness. Sometimes we call this food poisoning. For others, sometimes the illness is much more severe. Sometimes this happens to multiple people, describing it as a foodborne illness outbreak. A foodborne illness outbreak is when two or more people have the same symptoms after eating the same food. An investigation is conducted by state and local regulatory authorities, and the outbreak is confirmed by laboratory analysis. In Chapter 1, you will go through an activity where you will research a foodborne illness outbreak that has recently occurred in our area. Challenges to food safety. There are many challenges as a food safety manager when working in a restaurant or other establishment, but most of them relate to these 7 main challenges. First, time. You are going to be constantly under pressure to ensure that food is prepared and gets out to the customers quickly. But it's important that we not allow time to be a factor in causing a foodborne illness. Language, culture, literacy, and education are issues that are going to come up relating to working with your fellow employees. Some of your fellow employees may have different languages, come from different cultures, and have different educational backgrounds than you that may cause challenges. Pathogens. Pathogens can come up at any time, and sometimes there's new foodborne illness pathogens. Unapproved suppliers. It's important that you do your research about the food suppliers that you're using and ensure that they're approved suppliers with your bosses. High risk customers. It's important to know what populations in your community are high risk to a foodborne illness. And unfortunately, due to our economy and other nature of working in a food restaurant or establishment, you may experience staff turnovers. But what is the cost of a foodborne illness? What is the cost of having a foodborne illness outbreak occur in your establishment? Restaurants and other food establishments lose thousands, even millions of dollars every year due to foodborne illnesses. The cost of foodborne illnesses to an operation can include loss of customers and sales, loss of reputation, negative media exposure, lowered staff morale, lawsuits and legal fees, staff missing work, increased insurance premiums, and staff retraining. Ultimately, the biggest cost of a foodborne illness is the person factor. Unfortunately, sometimes left untreated or misdiagnosed, foodborne illnesses can cause death, and that's the greatest cost of all. So, how does foodborne illnesses occur? Well, they occur due to unsafe food resulting in contamination. There are three types of contamination: biological, chemical, and physical. We will explore each of these through Chapter 2 and 3. Biological contaminants. These include bacteria, viruses, parasites, and fungi. Chemical contaminants. These include cleaners, sanitizers, polishes, and physical hazards. These include metal shavings, staples, bandages, glass, dirt, and other natural objects, such as fish bones. There are 5 risk factors for food to become unsafe and develop foodborne illnesses. They are purchasing food from unsafe sources, failing to cook food correctly, holding food at incorrect temperatures, using contaminated equipment, and practicing poor personal hygiene. These 5 factors come down to 4 main reasons to how food becomes unsafe. That includes time temperature abuse, cross contamination, poor personal hygiene, and poor cleaning and sanitizing. Throughout the remaining chapters of this course, we will discuss how to prevent these 4 unsafe practices. Time temperature abuse. This is when food has stayed too long at temperatures good for pathogen growth. Food has been time temperature abused when it has not been held or stored at correct temperatures, it is not cooked or reheated enough to kill pathogens, and it is not cooled correctly. Cross contamination. When pathogens are transferred from one surface or food to another. Cross contamination can cause a foodborne illness when contaminated ingredients are added to food that receives no further cooking. Ready to eat food touches contaminated surfaces. Contaminated food touches or drips fluids onto cooked or ready to eat food. A food handler touches contaminated food and then touches ready to eat food. And contaminated wiping cloths touch food contact surfaces. Poor personal hygiene can cause a foodborne illness when food handlers fail to wash their hands correctly after using the restroom. Cough or sneeze on food. Touch or scratch wounds and then touch food. Work while sick. And finally, poor cleaning and sanitizing. This can include equipment and utensils are not washed, rinsed, and sanitized between uses. Food contact surfaces are wiped clean instead of being washed, rinsed, and sanitized. Wiping cloths are not stored in a sanitizer solution between uses, and sanitizing solutions are not at the required levels. So what foods are most likely to become unsafe? There are two types of food that are most likely to become unsafe. They include TCS food and ready-to-eat food. TCS food is food requiring time temperature control to limit pathogen growth, or time and temperature control for safety, or TCS. TCS food include milk and dairy products, shell eggs, meat, beef, pork, and lamb, poultry, fish, shellfish, and other crustaceans, baked potatoes, heat-treated plant food such as rice, beans, and vegetables, tofu and other soy products, sprouts and sprout seeds, cut vegetables and fruit, and untreated garlic and oil mixtures. Untreated garlic and herb mixtures, oil mixtures, are most common to be a cause of botulism. That's why they are on the TCS food list. Ready-to-eat food is food that can be eaten without further preparation, washing, or cooking. Ready-to-eat food includes cooked food, washed fruit and vegetables. They could be whole or they could be cut. Deli meat, bakery items, and sugar, spices, and seasonings. These items are all possible to become unsafe and become contaminated. Populations at high risk for foodborne illnesses. These people have higher risk of getting a foodborne illness. Preschool age children, elderly people, and people with compromised immune systems. This includes people with cancer or undergoing chemotherapy, people with HIV and AIDS, and people that experience organ transplants. You are going to participate in an activity to identify different high risk populations. Keeping food safe. As a person in charge at a food service establishment, you must be a certified food protection manager, be on site during operating hours, and show that they have the required knowledge. It is the law in New Jersey that at least one certified food protection manager is on duty at every shift. To become a certified food protection manager, you must pass a test from an accredited program. The manager must be accredited by any agency approved by a conference for food protection. Completing this course and passing the ServSafe exam meets this requirement. For those of you students that are planning on attending culinary school, this ServSafe course is also a required course of your to complete during your 2 to 4 years of training. If you complete this course now, you will be able to see a reduction in tuition and see these credits added automatically to your transcript upon showing your certification certificate to the proper person at your institution. Why is it important to be a certified food protection manager? According to the CDC study suggests that it reduces the risk of foodborne illness, was a distinguishing factor between restaurants that experienced an outbreak and those that did not. An FDA study suggests that more effective control of risk factors for foodborne illness is thanks to certified food protection managers. Well, as a food protection manager, it is your job to focus on these measures: purchasing from approved, reputable suppliers, controlling time and temperature, preventing cross contamination, practicing personal hygiene, and cleaning and sanitizing. As a food manager, you must also make sure that you deal with FDA recommended responsibilities and ensure that all federal and state regulations are applied. These FDA recommended responsibilities include: food handlers are regularly monitoring food temperatures during hot and cold holding. Ensure food is not prepared in a private home or where people are living or sleeping. Restrict people other than food handlers from preps, storage, and dishwashing areas. Ensure maintenance and delivery workers follow food safety practices. And monitor staff hand washing. Monitor deliveries to ensure food is safe. Include improved source, correct temperatures, protect from contamination, and accurately presented. You must ensure TCS food is cooked and cooled correctly. That includes cooked to required temperatures. Temperatures are checked with calibrated thermometers, and food is cooled rapidly. You must ensure guests are properly notified. This includes consumer advisories for raw or partially cooked food, and use of clean tableware in a self-service areas. You must also monitor staff and ensure training on food safety practices, including the following: cleaning and sanitizing, handling ready-to-eat food, allergy awareness, and reporting illnesses and symptoms. And you must ensure that food safety procedures are written down, implemented, and maintained. You must also display your commitment to food safety. Offer training. Evaluate and update it as needed. Discuss food safety expectations. Document and maintain food handling procedures. Consider awards and rewards for good food safety records, and set a good example. You can market your food safety certification and your commitment to food safety by even just displaying your ServSafe certification certificate in your establishment. If you go to many establishments, you will notice on at least one wall all of the food manager safety certifications and food handler safety certifications that have been earned by its employees. Now that we've completed Chapter 1, let's take this opportunity to also prepare you for the Food ServSafe certification. We're going to do this by going to the ServSafe website, servsafe.com. Once at servsafe.com, you are going to go to the top and click Login, Create Account. Once there, you're going to press Create a New Profile. When you hit Create a New Profile, you will get the new user registration form. Please complete all of the information that is marked with a red dot throughout the form. Please ensure that it's accurate and that you include an email address that you can easily access after graduation. use a password that you can easily remember at the conclusion of this course. Once you've created this account, you will use this account to access the online ServSafe exam and be able to access your exam results and, if passing, receive your ServSafe certificate. Thank you for participating in this Chapter 1 video. You will now participate in a question activity on a Google form that has been posted in Google Classroom by your instructor. Thank you.